Hi everyone, welcome and thank you for joining us for this week's edition of Inside Out. I do want to apologize that we are a little bit late. I was having some technical difficulties. I'm here driving solo tonight. Hey Dan, hi Charlotte, thanks for joining me. Bill is normally here helping me with last minute details, and he's over at the DCBN parents' night for the girls' soccer game. So I will mention this later at the end, but next week I will be doing this on Monday night so that I can try and be there to help them on Tuesday night with the field hockey parents' night. So we do have a lot going on, and I really hope that you enjoy everything that we have to bring you. We're going to try and condense this and keep this as close to an hour as possible. Sorry there, my sound is going off since he's not here to monitor it. I was checking the sound, so sorry about that. We do have a ton of things going on, so I am going to try and get into that pretty quickly. I do want to mention that we are now on YouTube, so we're not streaming live to YouTube, we're uploading. If you go to YouTube, you're able to subscribe and be notified when we upload the new videos. So that's some way if you want to share this information with someone who is not on Facebook. That way you have the opportunity to be able to do that. So just keep that in mind, and I'll remind you that again a little bit later. Sorry, I keep looking down. I have my stream deck down here to the side, and that helps me change scenes and put up different information as we go along. We do have a lot to cover in community events because there are quite a few things that are going on that may be helpful to you both in and around McSherrystown. Coming up on Monday, October 7th, hydrant flushing will occur on the west side of Route 94. On Monday, October 7th and Tuesday, October 8th, which includes McSherrystown and Conewago Township. On the east side of Route 94, Wednesday, October 9th and Thursday, October 10th. The Hanover Borough asks that you please refrain from drawing water during the time the crews are in your area. So we'll try and get that posted up with that reminder for where is happening for October 7th and 8th. That's McSherrystown, Conewago Township, so that you can be aware that that is going on. We also have the medication take back coming up Saturday, October 26th is the date. That is from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. You can bring in medication that's expired or you're no longer using. It can be pet medication, no needles please. But other than that, it doesn't matter if it's liquid pills, chewables, over the counter. Just if you're not using it, try not to, please don't keep it in your house, and please don't throw it in the trash. So this really helps out a lot. I believe some of the candidates who are running for Borough Council are going to try to be there. I know Bill and I are usually there. You certainly can stop out and say hello to the officers who are there. They have to receive the medication, so community members can't do that. So if anybody has any questions about anything I'm going over, please type it in the comments. If I don't see it live, I will go back after the event and try and catch up on things. I'm not very good I'm not very good at reading and talking, so that stumbles me up a little bit, but I love seeing the comments. That's great. So you want to stop by the McSherrystown Moose. If you're not in this area, I mean, they're all over this area. This is a nationwide event, so if you're seeing this going, that's a really cool idea, check with your local police department and see where they have a drop-off location for you. And it's just a great way to come out to the community and to get together. I'm going to shut my camera off here for a second for this one, but I do want to remind everybody that Trick or Treat is Tuesday, October 29th from 6 to 9 p.m. here in McSherrystown Borough. So please, even if you don't have little ones who are out trick-or-treating, be mindful that there are kids that will be trying to cross Main Street, Ridge, North, South Street, Delone Avenue, in all of those little areas. I know in past years, Life Discovery has had activities going on, trick or treat. McSherrystown Police Department, they're always outside handing out candies. McSherrystown Moose has done, quite a bit. We do have, thankfully, our volunteer firemen who are out there directing traffic, and they do a fantastic job. just keep in mind that little ones are out. Their visibility may not be great. Mom and dads may have multiple kids pulling on them, so because they're excited to get to the next house. So please be mindful of watching the little ones as they are trick-or-treating. I'm sure I'll remind you of those events as they come up through the weeks, but I just wanted to make sure to get those out there to you tonight. We have 35 days until the general election, folks. I've had people since the primary say, oh, well, it's great, you guys are on the ballot, you people you are supporting, they're not my guys, but the candidates I'm supporting, you're on the ballot, everything, you guys are golden, right? And the answer to that is no, actually, we're not golden, because there's still the general election that we have to get through. We still need to get the most, sorry about this, I gotta plug in my laptop, folks. I just saw that I'm on battery, not on power, and I don't want to die in the middle of the broadcast. But the primary's there. Hopefully all the people who came out and voted in the primary will return, and hopefully you bring a couple friends, because we really want to send the message overwhelmingly that things need to change. The candidates, if you're not aware of who they are, Mark Lookenbill, Dan Colgan, William F. Smith Jr., George Staub, and Joyce Murrin, they're very much interested in opening the process up for the community. I'll try to share the link. I don't know if it's up yet, but I know Dan's is already active. He did an interview with Zach Hyland over at Hanover Area Watch Group. Zach is doing an amazing job of interviewing candidates. I was lucky enough to be able to go along with Bill when he did his interview, so that should be popping up soon. Zach wants to invite anybody who is running for local office. If you're in the Hanover area, meaning if you hear our voices and we can drive there within 20 minutes, not we, because I have nothing to do with that, but in his mind, if you can drive there within 20 minutes of where he is, then you're in the Hanover area. So if you are running for office and you would like to be interviewed and have that put out there, he asked the same 5 questions of everyone. And I think Bill did a great job. Dan did a phenomenal job with his. I'm hoping some of the other candidates reach out to him and we get a chance to see their interviews before, it's November 5th. Like I said, the clock is ticking. We have 35 days. That's 35 days that you have a chance to look into and see what is going on. You shouldn't be taking my words. Those are the candidates that I support. And I tell you over and over again why I support them. Again, they're looking to open things up to the community, transparency. They don't profess to have all the answers, but there are rules. And they're working very hard now to understand the rules, so that when you come out and you vote for them, if they get the top spots and they get elected, they'll be able to follow the rules, making decisions in the best interest of the community, with the community, and making sure the information is getting there out to you. They should be telling you about the fire hydrant flushing. They should be the ones telling you about things that are going on in the community. I happen to get the fire hydrant flushing information from Hanover Borough. So, I looked around. I do believe McSherrystown website does have up the information on trick or treat, but I didn't see anything about the drug take back. So, I'm sure that there is a lot more information out there that I could be bringing you. It's just hopefully in 35 days the election will have come around and we will see some positive changes no matter who is sitting in those seats. Actually, right now, the borough has been out doing more street sweeping, and I was told that they were out and started patching the basketball courts. By the way, I'm sure it appears that someone on the council is listening, and honestly, that's great. If you're listening and you're hearing the people and you're responding to that, that's all that we asked for. That's all that we wanted. It's phenomenal, but it shouldn't have taken this level of interaction to get your attention. But just for anybody listening, if you know the guys or want to give a heads up to the borough, they have a brake light out on the street sweeper. So, since somebody does seem to be listening, maybe they'll catch that and fix that. The patching of the basketball courts is amazing. I'm hoping that's the first step to repairing them. And while I look forward to seeing, I'm hoping at the next meeting we're going to start to hear reports, but my fear is that in the last 15 months there have been no public committee meetings. They have had no reports to amount to anything on the committee meetings, and when they did have reports, there were no actual committee meetings. So I'm hoping we're working towards a direction where we see more of that and we get to see more interaction with the community. But I'm wondering, does this show of public action, of doing things for the community, is that because it's 35 days to the general election? Is that because now they're a little concerned about maybe with the turnout from the primary, that since 5 of the candidates that are up for election, only 2 of them are on the ballot, and one of those is on because of nominating petition, not because of votes. It's concerning. To me, it's like kids cramming for the final the night before the test. We're under a month. These things should have been, these community activities and these reports and these efforts, which they haven't done the reports yet. I'm just hoping that that's what we're going to see. That's why we're seeing this uptick in activity. I'm hoping that they're going to start giving more information to the community. Better late than never, but after all this time, the question you're going to have to ask yourself when you go in to vote is it enough? I do have some voter information for you. Let me just see here. Take that off. And this is a portion of the sample ballot. I know if you're watching on your phone, I'm sorry right now because it's going to be hard for you to see, but it's going to show you that the top 4 spots are the candidates who are running for transparency for the 4-year term. It is William F. Smith Jr., Mark Lookenbill, and Daniel Colgan. Both received the high votes for the Democrat and Republican. Next on the ballot is George Staub. He is also running on platform of transparency. He received your top Democratic votes in the primary. And I'd like to give a huge shout out to George. George's name was not on the ballot. He ran a strictly write-in campaign and only fell 14 votes short of securing the Republican vote and nomination for the general election as well. You have the incumbent, Joe Von Sass, who is listed on the 4-year term. And down on the council member 2-year term, Joyce Murrin secured both the Democrat and Republican votes. And then incumbent Lisa Kuntz is also there with no affiliation. She had to file nomination petition in order and secure, signatures in order to be able to get on the ballot. Whether or not the rest of the council decides that they're going to run a write-in campaign to see if they can regain their seats. The thing I'd like to say is, again, it goes back to the quote, which I didn't talk about. It was a Socrates quote, and it essentially, if once the debate is over, the mudslinging begins, is essentially. So when there's nothing else of value to say, we're going to go over here and talk about these other things. And when it comes to those other things, when I don't care if it's my husband knocking on your door or one of the incumbents knocking on the door, when they're telling you what they're going to do, don't just take, oh, this is what I'd like to see happen, especially if they've been sitting there for 4 years or longer and they've been doing this. It's, why haven't you done this till now? And what are we going to, if we can't, what if you get into office and you're not doing your job? Are we supposed to wait out you doing nothing? Is that what we're supposed to look at? So talk to the candidates, get some information from them, ask for follow-up information, ask them to bring you the proof if they're making a claim that something is happening or isn't happening. But take some effort into looking into what's going on before you just say, oh yeah, I've known him forever, so I'm going to give him my vote. There is another item on the ballot which I do want to bring your attention to, and it's rather important, so I didn't want to just bring it, I didn't want you to see it for the first time the day of the election. This is a proposed constitutional amendment for crime victim rights. It says, I'm going to read it to you because it's brief, because if you're on a small, screen. Shall the Pennsylvania Constitution amended to grant certain rights to crime victims, including to be treated with fairness, respect, and dignity, considering their safety in bail proceedings, timely notice and opportunity to take part in public proceedings, reasonable protection from the accused, right to refuse discovery request made by the accused, resulting in restitution and return of property, proceedings free from delay, and to be informed of these rights so they can enforce them. I personally do have, of course I have an opinion on this, but that's not why I'm telling you about this. I'm telling you about this. You might have heard about Marcy's Law, and that is something, that's what this is talking about. There is a little bit of back and forth on this one. We have crime rights legislation, but it's not really being enforced, or it's not enforceable, and that's why this is coming up. It started in 1983 around Marcy Nicholas. She was murdered by an ex-boyfriend, and the ex-boyfriend was released on bail and ran into her mom and brother at the grocery store, and that just kind of threw them off. They weren't even aware that he was out. So it's been since that time, and 11 other states have passed versions of Marcy's Law. This is actually coming up. If you want to look into it, it's SB 1011. It asserts that victims of crime have constitutional rights that should be taken into account by the courts, including being notified about developments in the case. I do have very strong personal feelings about this, because I know someone who was affected and by a similar situation. But it's really something, I'm bringing it to you because we have 35 days for you to look into this. And that way you can be an informed voter when you're walking in going, this is why I think it's a good idea, or this is why I think it's not a good idea. It's something I'll tell you and share my thoughts with you if you ask me directly, but I don't know that I want to go into that on here. It was just important that the first time that you see this, it wasn't in when you were voting. So we also have some important dates for you. Election, obviously the last day to register before the election is October 7th. The last day to apply for an absentee ballot is October 29th, and the polls are open in Adams County from 7 a.m. until 8 p.m. I do want to mention to you, if you are registering to vote online or not by a paper ballot where you're signing it and sending it in, you're not finished until you actually sign the ballot and it's returned to the registrar's office and they confirm receipt. Your application, your online application, can be, it's started, but it's not finished. So once they receive it and they know it's in the pipeline, that kind of is holding your place in the line. But you need to get that in there and have the signed ballot to them by October 7th. If you are, not registered, I strongly encourage you to, whether you live in McSherrystown or not. As a voter, that's how our voice is heard. There are links up above that have voter registration information. Votespa.com is one of them, and then there's two other ones. There's also another link up there, I believe, that I put up there. It's Know Your Rights. Some things, if you're a first-time voter, I know both my kids are going to be voting for the first time, and they're going to ask you for your license if you've never been there before. Or if you've changed some information, they may ask for your ID if they have to verify your address. So your name, address, possibly your date of birth when you check in. If your name is not on the poll book, you can still vote, and the link up there will go through in what instances that's allowed to happen. And if you need assistance in voting, you can ask for assistance. Please ask at the voting booth. This is the big thing. If you make a mistake, if you think you made a mistake when you were casting for your vote, don't try to cross it out. Don't try to erase it. Ask for a new ballot. You will be given a new ballot. It is not a problem. If you try to erase it, it might invalidate. And once they run your ballot through the machine, your vote's cast. So if you're in there and you color in the box and you're like, oh, I hit the wrong thing, or you realized you misaligned, something like that, make sure you ask for a new ballot. It really won't be a problem. This is the votespa.com website I wanted to show you. Just click register to vote, and then it gives you the option after you plug in your information to either print out the ballot, sign it, and mail it in, or after you go through the process, the election office will actually send you a ballot. That's it for direct McSherrystown. Now, we do have some neighboring information. I do have some information about the Eisenhower Drive Extension Project. Some local things first. The petition drive. There is a petition drive at Palms Dry Cleaners, so you can stop in and sign at 961 Carlisle Street. That is a petition for the no build. The hours are up there. Also informed today that Nick's Garage, formerly Earl Black's Garage, I believe the address is 5490 Hanover Road. That will also have petitions available if you're interested in signing them for the no build. That is saying that you don't think the TSM or the 5C, which runs through Conewago Township, is a good idea. I did hear back from the project manager at PennDOT, Ben Singer, and so I don't normally like to just read things to you, but I do want to read this to you because I think I didn't have time to put it up there yet. But I asked if PennDOT has designated any of the three alternatives as a preferred alignment. And the official answer is, sorry about this, I have to read down, so I'm not looking up. At this point, none of the three alignments, no build, TSM, or 5C, has been designated as preferred alignment. All three alternatives are still on the table at this point. I asked another question about seeming to be a race by public officials to sway the public one way or another, and also about the mailing that went out about the North Street, Main Street, and and saying this is kind of getting out of hand. And his response to that was, this is something that I'm hearing from other residents, but the final decision on which alternative, if any, will be based on several factors. One of the main factors will be meeting the purpose and the need of the project. Other factors include, but are not limited to, historic resource impacts, ROW, which is right of way, impacts, environmental impacts, and other impacts. I also mentioned that there was no information about this project at all brought to the people of McSherrystown by our Borough Council. We're just really coming up to speed on this, and it's really concerning. His reply is, that is unfortunate. We had municipal coordination meetings during the past several years with members of the surrounding municipalities to discuss the project and give them status updates. So if they didn't attend, if our Borough Council members didn't attend, that's on them. If they did attend and they didn't bring that information back to us, again, that's on them. And that's a question you need to ask them if this is an issue that's important to you before you cast your vote. It says, a member of McSherrystown Borough was present at the last meeting we had November 18th. For each of the open houses we had in 2018 and 19, we sent letters to McSherrystown Borough officials letting them know of the open house and what it entailed. So I have no idea why this information why it wasn't passed on to the residents. He doesn't know. I asked about if there were any additional meetings that were to be planned because we didn't have enough information and we're still catching up. And he said, I cannot comment on how the municipal officials are handling this. The random people mailing out phony information doesn't make things easier. I can say at this time that we have no meetings scheduled. And again, I asked directly, is it possible that someone could make themselves available to come to McSherrystown and answer questions if we wanted to have an information meeting and people wanted to, because we're not getting anything from. And it says, as stated above, we have no further meetings scheduled at this time. I would advise people to utilize the website to make any comments or ask questions about the project. I would highly recommend residents subscribing to the mailing list. This will ensure any residents who sign up will get emails on project updates and other pertinent information. Oh, sorry about that. Cat just knocked something down. But so if you go to the Eisenhower Drive Extension website, and I'm sure we've put that up multiple times, but we can get it again. If anybody out there is listening and has access to that, to the contact link, if you want to drop that in comments, and I will try and add that into the comments to the helpful links above before I post over to YouTube. If you go right there to contact in the Eisenhower Drive Extension website, you can actually subscribe for email updates, and then you'll get information from them. So if they are planning any additional meetings, you'll get that information. But I just wanted to take a few minutes and share that with you because I thought it was important that you hear some official PennDOT information and not just from me. It is from me, but I can show you the email if you want to see it. Sorry about that. The next thing I wanted to mention was the Hamilton Drive or the Hamilton Township project. Sorry about this. I don't know why. I had a little glitch there. The Hamilton Township, if you've been following along at all, there was a meeting the other Thursday. I forget the date. I was in attendance. The newspaper had about 150 people there, but I really think it was closer to 200. They're going to be giving their decision on October 10th for the Hamilton Township zoning hearing. I have to say, I want to commend the people from Hamilton Township for coming out, and they were passionate, but they were respectful, and the board was doing everything they could to, keep it that way. I was really impressed by what I saw, both from the community and the proceeding, the way it was conducted. So please, if you're saying, well, I don't live in Hamilton Township, how does that affect me? If you have students or property in the Conewago Valley School District, this does affect you. This is a massive project. 667 townhomes is what they're looking at adding, and that will be the largest townhome development of that kind, according to the Adams County official who was there. Like, they've never seen a project this size in this way. A townhome project, I believe. Dr. Greenhalgh gave some great information. I don't know, by the information they presented, what they presented in packets, because it was an actual hearing. They were testifying. Everybody, even public comment, was sworn in. So whether or not Dr. Greenhalgh's information was submitted in a packet form to support what he was saying, I hope it is. I can write to know it if nobody else does, because people have been asking to see it, but you certainly can write to know it. If anybody does and you have all of the right to know information together and we can verify that, it is complete, I'd be happy to put that up. If I have time to send out a right to know, I can do that if you're interested. I don't advocate sending right to knows in just to send them in. But if you're telling me that you want to see the statistics that Dr. Greenhalgh gave, I can certainly look in and do that. But this goes to the whole Eisenhower Drive extension. Dr. Greenhalgh was talking about how there are multiple municipalities with multiple development projects going on, and they don't seem to be talking to one another, and they're crushing the school and shared resources that they have. Hamilton Township was talking about they have state police coverage. They're this project alone would double the size of their population of their township. They would need to go to paid police department, which would then be more taxes, and so it goes on. Hook and Ladder, the chief, was there. He was saying that, look, if you do this, we're going to need to hire people, and we're going to need to go to paid, because we can't build our volunteer base that dramatically for that big of a shift. And you don't wait till the population is full to do it. The project is planned, so you start planning now for that 5-year from now mark. So this is a concern. This is why there is a concern with the Conewago State's development. You can look at that and say, oh, well, it's only 4 or 6, it's not many houses. I get that, but when you take that and you add it to the 720 lots that are already approved, and then you add it to the 85 acres that was just rezoned as part of a bigger rezoning process, it was a total of 490 acres, but I think, or 400 and some odd acres, but then it's another 85 acres that they're actually looking to develop. That all compounds. It all builds on top of each other. So this is why I'm supporting the no bill. This is why there's a push for people to say, wait, stop, you're crushing us. The unintended consequences, it may sound great, you put this road in, but it's not really going to help our congestion here on Main Street, McSherrystown, because we're going to be getting flooded from the new development right across the road from Food Lion, where they want to put in these other houses, this 85 acres that they want to develop. That's all going to come up Main Street. The only people that are going to jump on that bypass who are going out to go shopping at Eisenhower Drive. That's not the extent of our traffic. So if congestion is your issue, having a well-balanced growth plan so that you can grow, but grow and not overtax your resources, is really where we need to look to go with this. Let me know what you think about that. If you want to talk more about the development, the Eisenhower Drive extension, I'm sure we'll be talking about that a lot between now and December. That and the election being our main focus, that is where we are going. I do want to remind everybody that We will be on next Monday instead of next Tuesday. If you're like, this is my Tuesday night thing, you can watch the replay, the recording of it, because we'll make sure to have that up. If you have any questions about anything that we talked about tonight, please make sure that you either post it in the comments or you reach out to us. I've really appreciate people who've been sending me information and reaching out to me going, hey, did you know this? Did you see this? That's really helpful, and it's really appreciated. So we'll touch base next Monday, because I just didn't feel like we could skip next week with all that's going on. We have our next Borough Council meeting Wednesday, October 9th. That is the last Borough Council meeting prior to the election. So this is your last chance, folks. If you want to get them in the room and ask them publicly, what are they doing and why are they doing this or why aren't they doing that, do so respectfully, and hopefully you will respectfully get those answers. And if not, hopefully we're going to see things change for the better, no matter what happens on November 5th. But I'm really looking forward to the possibility of change, the hope. It is the hope of better things. All we can do is try and get the information to you, encourage you. Like I said, if you know anybody who would like some more information, who would like to talk to one of the candidates, who might not know about what's going on, who doesn't just want to sit and gossip over a cup of tea, though I love going for breakfast, a cup of tea. But I'm happy to answer questions. Candidates are happy to meet people and answer questions, whether you want to gather a group of friends of 10 together or have just them come to your house and talk to you. So reach out to your candidates. On the local level, the municipal level is the one place you have an opportunity to do that. You're not likely to get county commissioners or state representatives or state senators to just pop in and sit down and ask some questions, or to stop by one afternoon. So reach out. Take your time, do your research. We will try and get the full sample ballot up for your review. If you have any questions about anything on that, please reach out and ask. We'll do our best to give you the proper information. If I don't have it, I'll refer you to someone who might, or I'll go there, check myself, and give it back to you. So again, don't forget, we are on YouTube. You can subscribe so you know when we upload videos, the recordings to that, and you'll also be able to send those out to your friends. So we ran a little over tonight. We're going on about 35 minutes. So I just want to thank you for your time. Good night. God bless. And we'll see you again next week. And hopefully you'll stop over at Delone at Squire Under the Lights and watch the girls' senior night. They would love to have a big crown on Tuesday, since you'll be seeing us next week on Monday. Again, thank you so much. Good night. God bless. And until next time.